Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back. Well, another huge day today in the shop, and that is because the Ratty Satty is getting a heart transplant, and we have a completely new motor going in this car. Now, before I tell you guys any details on what the engine is and show it to you, because it's sitting right here in front of me, quick story, quick recap on kind of what we've done to date. This car was sitting for about 20 years or so. We got it running, driving, and racing in about 3 weeks. Took it to Tucson for duct tape drags last fall, and we got absolutely freaking embarrassed on the track, to be honest with you. Had transmission issues, had a lot of engine issues, had fuel dumping out on the track every single time I went to go out there, brakes that barely functioned. We have a lot of issues that we really need to sort for safety, and also because we have to run faster than an 18.5-second quarter mile like we did there. So at the Muscle Cars at the Strip Show in Las Vegas in March, we're about 90 days out right now. We've signed up for the drag race and also the autocross. So we're gonna take this car, run it around the track, put it through its paces, test it out, and honestly, I just hope to have a lot of fun that weekend. So T-Bone and the boys are coming with me, and yeah, we're gonna get a bunch of track time in, and I can't wait to get out there and do it. And hopefully we won't have as many issues this time around. So with the engine, we have a few different options. Number one, the car currently has a 73 440 from a motorhome, super low compression, really needs to be completely rebuilt. Did a compression test on everything. We've got some cylinders that are very low. It runs like absolute dog shit, sounds like absolute dog shit, and like I said earlier, went down the track like dog shit too. We've got a transmission that's completely stuck in drive. It doesn't go into neutral, doesn't go into park. It is driving. So we got one shot when we put it on the lift here in the next couple days. But and then we've got fuel issues. We've got a number of other things that we're going to completely rip out all of that stuff. And instead of getting the 440 rebuilt, we're putting a new engine in the car. Now, the last couple weeks, I picked up a 400 big block, and my plan there was to put a 500 stroker kit in it, which is a big change, a big upgrade from that, and drop the 400 block off over at the machine shop locally here, and it needs a ton of work. It's gonna need about $2,000 worth of machining work, and yeah, and then we're gonna also need to put new pistons in it and a bunch of different things from the stroker kit that I got. So we're gonna have to look for a different block for that, and I may just end up putting all those parts on the shelf because we've got a 68 Charger build, and we've also got a wing car build that I'm really excited to share with you guys here in a few months that both need engines, and that could be a good candidate for either one. So I reached out to my buddy Jeremy over at Shade Tree Vintage Auto, and if you guys haven't done so yet, please follow, please subscribe to his channel. He's got a ton of cars, a lot of really cool builds, and a lot of very good prices on cars that he's selling. So at any given time, he probably has 20 to 50 to 100 cars that are always for sale. And if you're looking for parts, hit him up, guys, and follow his channel. A lot of cool stuff going on. But I reached out to him to see what he had, and just so happens that, you know, I was looking for, I'll be honest with you, I was looking for a tunnel ram. I want something to stick out of the hood. I want it to be about as tall as the car. And he said, I have just the car for you. So without further ado, let me show you guys this 66 Fury with the 383 tunnel ram. So I hope you guys are smiling as big as I am, because every time I open up this hood on this car, it gets me really excited. And I popped the billet air cleaner off of here. You know, we are going to put velocity stacks on this. We will likely be swapping out these carbs for different carbs, but yeah, I'm so freaking excited. I've never had a tunnel ram car, and especially one that I felt was done right and done to my taste. And yeah, I can't wait to get this thing done. Now, the good thing is that when the guys dropped it off, Jeremy told me within 5 minutes we're gonna have this engine running, hit the clock. I think we had it running in 30 seconds. I'm not joking you. All we did, we connected the battery out of the Ratty Satty to this thing, gave it a couple sprays. It's already got an electric fuel pump in it, and connected it. First hit, bam. And it sounds extremely rowdy. It's already cammed. It had killer oil pressure between 50 and 60 pounds right off the first hit. And that's compared to the 10, 15 pounds that are in the 440 that it has right now. This thing's hot, and it's freshly rebuilt, ready to go. And you know, whoever had this car definitely put quite a bit of money in here. I mean, there's at least a $500 radiator sitting here with an awesome shroud, brand new clutch fan, a lot of new parts in here, new booster. It's actually got brand new leads disc brakes on it that have never even been plumbed. So we're gonna pull those off as well. We'll have to get a couple brackets to fit from the C body to the B body. But yeah, actually you can see the sticker there. But this thing has a lot of great parts on it. And before you guys give me a rash of shit and say, oh, it should be rebuilt or whatever, guys, this car was actually for sale on eBay 1 week ago, and it sold for $102. I'm not joking you. With that engine in it, with everything in it, obviously nowhere close to the reserve on it. But yeah, it was available and it didn't sell for nothing. These cars really are not worth much. I love the stacked headlights on this, but I'll be honest with you guys, when I have a 71 Cuda that's not finished, when I have a 68 Charger and a wing car out back that we're gonna build, this car is nowhere close to being on my priority list. So that said, if you guys are interested in it, let me know. This car is gonna go back to Jeremy, but I'm sure you guys could get what's left after we're done with it for a really, really good price. But my plan, guys, we're gonna start stripping this thing out. We're gonna get this engine out of it. Ooh, I forgot to mention, it does have a very fresh 727 behind this as well, with the shift kit in it. So again, it's gonna save us a lot of time and money. And yeah, I can't wait to get this thing dropped out of here. We're gonna go through it. We're gonna see if there's any leaks. I plan on painting it. Not a fan of the green. It looks like a boat engine, to be honest with you. Not a fan of that. We're gonna paint it orange, and I wanna make it look brand new and absolutely killer to drop into that car. And you know, really, this is like a cheat code, okay? My plan is to have it dropped out tonight. We can have this thing on the stand probably tomorrow, order whatever parts that we need. We're gonna change out the oil pan, probably gonna change out to some ARP hardware, clean everything up, paint it, new carbs, new fuel system, and I think I can have this in the Satty in like 2 weeks. So it's a whole lot of work, time, and most importantly, money saved. And this is an awesome, awesome way to go. So my plan is, guys, we're gonna start yanking stuff here out of the top. We'll get that tunnel ram out of there, and we're gonna drop out the entire front suspension, transmission, all that stuff onto a cart, so that way we can make quick and easy work of getting this thing removed, and strip the brakes off, strike the parts that we need off of it, and yeah, get this car the hell out of here, because the weather's moving in here, and I hope that the Satellite's not covered in snow when I come to pull it back in. So I'm hoping to have this entire thing wrapped up and get this car out of here in the next 2 or 3 days. So a lot of talking, not much work so far. So let's get this camera set up and let's get this engine yanked out of this car. Alrighty, you guys, so I went to go drain the radiator, and all you old school Mopar guys out there, before you school me in the comments, I found something that's kind of a big deal. So I mentioned that I'm going to drop this engine out from the bottom. Well, I just learned on the C-body, there's no K-frame in these cars. So you can't drop it out from the bottom. So that means we're gonna yank it out from the top, which isn't a big deal. But you learn something new every day. Alrighty, you guys, so if it looks like I've been flying through the removal of this engine and transmission, it's because we really have. And I have a lot of really good news and some somewhat questionable news. So the good news is everything came out super easy. So literally everything popped right out, no broken bolts, nothing like that, which also leads me to the questionable news. Now, you know, I know when you sell projects or you buy projects kind of midway through, you don't know, you know, kind of what was installed permanently or what was kind of halfway installed. And I know this project was kind of bought on jack stands, so the owner was working it. He did invest a lot of money into it, did a lot of really good work to it, but I really think that some of the engine stuff was put in temporarily, what I hope to be just to get it rolling down the road. I mean, the intake manifold bolts, finger tight. Exhaust manifold bolts barely beyond finger tight, spark plugs barely in, engine mounts, took those out with my hands. Yeah, everything came out super easy. Now, you know, of course that makes me kind of scratch my head a little bit, and I hope that it was bought just, you know, kind of in progress. But, you know, the engine doesn't show any leaks, and yes, it does have fluid. It does have oil, and the transmission's also full of oil. But yeah, of course, we're going to open up the oil pan. We're going to open up the front accessories. We're probably going to end up popping the heads off as well, just to go through everything, make sure it's all in good condition. And man, I really hope we don't find a bunch of loose bolts inside the engine too. So, I mean, it sounded good. Let's hope that's not the case. But, all right, guys. Well, the engine mounts are out. The transmission mount is also out. And yeah, this thing is ready to hook up and lift on out of here. So let's get this thing out of the car. Alrighty, you guys, we got the car out of the bay, and it's always weird when there's not a car in the lift bay here, but instead we have this beautiful engine that overall looks really good. Came out of the car pretty easy, not too many issues there, and honestly looking at it, it's definitely been gone through for sure. It's got a fresh spray job on it, but I mean, I don't know if this thing even has any miles on it, to be honest with you. It's got brand new exhaust manifold gaskets on it. A lot of new parts, a lot of money have been thrown at that car in general, but the engine does look pretty darn tidy. So from here, what we're going to do, we're going to get this transmission split off the backside here of the engine, and yeah, get all the parts taken off of it so we can get it lifted up onto that engine stand, drain the oil out, strip the accessories off of it, flip it over, and have a look on the inside. So crossing my fingers for no whammies here, but yeah, let's get this thing up on the stand. Alrighty guys, so it's day 2 out here, and I guess technically by day 2 I mean like day 4 or 5. I've actually been really sick the last few days, so as I've been laying on the couch feeling sorry for myself the last few days, it has not stopped me for 1 second in thinking about this engine like non-stop. I cannot wait to dig into this thing to figure out, you know, what heads are on it, what cam's in it, what could possibly be laying in the bottom of the oil pan, which I hope there's nothing in there because this thing did run pretty good when we had it running. Even for having gasoline that smelled like kerosene. Yeah, it's definitely been gone through, I would say fairly recently, as a fresh coat of paint on it. So we're gonna check everything on the inside. We're gonna open everything up and kind of see what we're working with. I have no idea if this thing's been bored out. I have no idea if there's a 500 stroker in this thing. We really, truly have no idea. So we're gonna kind of figure this out and learn it all together as we go through this thing here over the next well, I guess for you guys, it will probably be 15 or 20 minutes or so. But yeah, I can't wait to start digging into this thing. And the purpose of really tearing it all the way down is that we are going to completely reseal this entire engine. We're going to replace all the hardware with ARP everything. We're going to put the head studs in it. Every accessory, what have you, is probably going to end up being replaced. MSD ignition will be going on this thing. We've got 4150 style carbs that are going on it, velocity stacks, which will make this thing substantially taller, which it's already enormous. And even in the state that it's in, it's obviously never going to fit underneath that hood. And I promise you guys, we're not going to cut out that hood. I've actually got a different hood that we're going to use, and it's going to be so freaking cool. I can't wait. So enough talking. Let's grab some tools and let's get this thing torn down. Alrighty, you guys, so I've got the heads off the engine here, and I will have to edit out many cuss words and a whole lot of disappointment. This engine is bad, and kind of knew at the moment I popped off this passenger side head. So the first thing is, I guess the only positive, the oil galley is super clean. And then when you look at each of these cylinders, I don't know if you guys can see how chewed up the insides of these cylinders are. Every single one of them has massive, massive gouges. And also every single piston has giant pitting in every single one of them, as well as these being the low compression pistons, and also a stock bore. So what this tells me, this engine was opened up, looks like it was cleaned up with sandpaper because you can see the sand scratches in it, and it was resealed, reassembled, and they went full send with what I believe they knew was a bad setup here. So I'm at a loss for words and a little bit disappointed. Well, now this block basically would need the exact same machine work as the 400 that we had previously, and this brings us back to square one. So option A was a bust, option B is a bust, and I guess we're going to be looking for option C. So, man, what a bummer, you guys. Just some other things that I noticed, and kind of before I even got the heads off, knew that this thing was kind of screwed up. On the passenger side head, which would be this side, this entire row of head bolts finger tight across the middle. Another awesome thing is these push rods. So you can see they're the same at the same point. This one right here was different than all the rest. Do you guys see how much shorter that is? I haven't measured that to see exactly what it is, but noticeably shorter. So I'm guessing he probably had a bent push rod. Maybe that was the reason it was actually pulled apart, and pulled one out of the scrap bin. Said, hey, let's throw it back together. Let's paint it, make it look like new, and send it on. So again, this is a stock bore engine, guys. So it's never been machined, which I guess would be a good thing if somebody's looking for a 383 to put in. But I think now it does kind of tell a story. And there was some things that kind of stood out on the Fury as well, just with how some of the lines were routed and different things. But you know, maybe this thing did come apart for a bent push rod or a stuck valve or something like that. They opened it up, resealed it all, put it back together, and again, just very low standard of work, we'll just say. So it is not an HP block either. This is actually the first time I'm looking at this. So what is A? I think that's 65. So something like that, 65, 383. And these are also 516 heads, which are super low compression heads, not very desirable either. So this does kind of bring us back to square one, guys. Unfortunately, kind of a bust. And unfortunately, this kind of shit happens. Don't blame my friends over at Shade Tree one bit for this. They purchased this in a deal that they'd put together with somebody else. So I was just the one that got to open it up and, and find out what was in here. But I do know we've got like 90 days to figure it out, get an engine in this car, and hopefully make it go down the drag strip faster than what it did previously. So, so frustrating. But I think that's going to do it for today, guys. Again, throw in the comments below what you guys think we should do with this, because I think we are going to start from scratch. So let me know what you think. I'll see you guys next time.